pass bar. Hello friends, today we are going to see 8th standard NCERT book 2nd chapter from trade to territory. The company establishes power is the heading. How the company is establishing the power, that is what we are going to see. But first we need to understand what they came to India for. They came for trading. Why they become rulers, that is what we have to see. But why did they come as a trader? See, in history, one thing is very important. When you read about one particular happening, incident, you need to find out what is the cause of that incident and what is the effect of that incident. So these two things we need to keep in mind when we are reading history. 1707 is a landmark milestone year of Indian history because that is the end of medieval India. So with Aurangzeb's death in 1707, it's a, just like a few years we will never forget, isn't it? 1947 or birth year, something like that. So this 1707 is also very important year because of Aurangzeb's death, because after that all the power games started changing. Mughals, for their convenience, they had divided their own kingdom into few provinces. All those provinces claimed autonomy one by one after Aurangzeb's death. So that is what given here. Mughal governors, that is Subedars and big zamindars, they began asserting their authority when they are so much away from Delhi, and when they think they are more powerful than Delhi, they will claim their sovereignty. Such places you know where you might have heard it often, but you would not have understood how it came to existence. Like Nawabs, Bengal Nawab, Hyderabad Nawab, Arcad Nawab, Marathas, all these people came to existence, or they became independent rulers after Mughals got weak. So the second half of 18th century is very important for British because they started their rule. They started to establish their rule over India. You see this picture here. This is the picture that depicts British are standing here. One old man standing here. That old man's person standing here. It seems they are arrested. There is one person looks like captain. To remember his name easily, actually this person is Bahadur Shah Jafar. 1857 revolt of the first independent revolt of India. 1857 revolt. That was Namki was headed by this Bahadur Shah Jafar, who was descendant of Mughal, who was Mughal emperor just for the namesake, because he owned only Red Fort that time. He did not have any other area to rule, so he was ruling only Red Fort, but still we call him Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Jafar and his son. This person who arrested Bahadur Shah Jafar and deported Bahadur Shah Jafar and killed his son, his name is Captain Hodson. To remember it easily, we have a shortcut. He deported head of dynasty and killed his son. He is Hodson. This is the shortcut to remember. Next we are going to see East India Company comes east. How East India Company comes east? When East India Company started? Why it was started? Okay, see here, this is Europe. Europe has weather that is very cold at least half of the year. India is here. Europe Europe's spice supply was totally taken care of India. Now what we are doing for our spice? We are using chili, various kinds of chili. But before 16th century, people used pepper, not chili, only black pepper. That is why when a new spicy item came, it was called red pepper or green pepper. It was not even given the name chili before. Chili is after the Chili peninsula where it was originated. But first of all, those period, 400 years before, until 400 years before, the spicy need of man's tongue was taken care of by our Indians and all these spice islands. This is Spice Island. Okay, so they wanted to trade with India for these spices. See, this is the route they came to India before 1453. They went to China for silk and they went to India for spice. This is a partially land and partially water route. This is totally a land route to India to buy spices. Why this spice is very important for European people, that important for European people? According to their geography, see, history is not just history. If Einstein found out something, how he got the theory is science. But he found something is history now, isn't it? So what happened in the past, we need to understand what happened in the past, we need to have a hang of all the subjects. Here, according to the geography of Europe, there will not be any plant that, spice plant will not grow there because of the weather there. So now what they were doing for their spice needs, they were dependent on India. Why they need spice? To understand that, we need to have this one. To a man's body temperature is to be maintained normal. To be maintained normal, man's body cells, mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell that burns the calories, right? That calories that are coming from the food. Whatever food we eat, those things are burned. Those calories are burned to give strength to our body, to keep our body warm. If a man is just simply lying in the bed all day, how much calorie he will need? That is the calculation here. Ideal man's calorie requirement in 10 degrees Celsius, when the room temperature or the weather is 10 degrees Celsius, how much calorie he requires is 3400 calories. Ideal man's calorie requirement in 20 degrees Celsius is 2500 calories. Ideal man's calorie requirement in 30 degrees Celsius is 1600 calories. Why this is varying? Do you have any idea? Just imagine a tumbler of hot milk. You keep it on a table. Another same temperature hot milk, you keep it in fridge. How much time it will take, or which will get cold early? That one in fridge, right? Okay. You imagine having a small burner, just as a you go to hotel, eat in buffet. Below the buffet vessels, there will be a small burner. Okay, imagine such burner below that tumbler. What will happen? The burner that is kept inside the fridge tumbler will have to work harder, whereas tumbler kept on the table, that burner will have to work little lesser, which requires more heat to maintain the milk as warm as the temperature we need. that burner in the fridge will have to work harder. Right, like that, the body that is in the colder condition, to maintain the body temperature, needs more calorie. That is what this picture says. The 10, when the man is in 10 degrees Celsius, how much he eats? He needs to eat for 3,400 calories. A man in 30 degrees Celsius, when these both men are just lying in bed, not doing any work. So just for that, he requires 1,600 calories. This is more than double, isn't it? Okay. This man lying in bed, if he is going to eat for 3 times a day, how much time this person will have to eat? 6 times a day, isn't it? More than 6 times a day. We will keep it as 6 times a day. So 6 times a day, a man has to eat to meet his requirements in colder conditions. Say in 24 hours, he is sleeping for 6 hours. All other works, he is whatever minimum things he is doing, deduct 10 hours. In 14 hours, if he needs to eat 6 hours, he will just have to eat, cook, and do nothing else, right? So to save man's efficiency, what he has to do? He has to eat something which is twice as nutrient as what the person in hot region is eating, right? So to make up that, you see this carbohydrate per gram, it gives 4 calories. Protein per gram, it gives 4 calories. Fat per gram, it gives 9 calories. So people in colder region eat more fat and protein. Combination of more fat and protein, whereas people in warmer region eat more carbohydrate with protein. So this is the combination of their meal. So the Europeans who were eating a combination of fat and protein, they required animal fats. See, there is no equal as good fat equal to animal fat. So they have to eat animal fat with a lot of animal protein and animal fat, so that they can eat 3 times a day only and use rest of the time for other productive work or for earning. So this is the diet chart. So to eat like this, what he needs to do? He needs more animal. Okay, if he is growing more animals, will he be able to supply food for those animals? You see, this is the weather model of Europe. December, January, February, all ice. There are no leaves. Spring, this is only budding. You cannot afford to eat these budding leaves, otherwise you will never have spring. So this is spring and summer, and autumn. Where autumn comes, all leaves fall. Okay, so in September, October, November, this is autumn. So these 3 months and these 6 months, they cannot eat anything fresh. Any plant cannot be eaten fresh by animals. But this fresh leaves can be eaten by animals. This fresh leaves can be eaten, and also leaves has to be stored. But if the animal population keep growing, can they afford it? They cannot. They also need animal supply all through the year. So they cannot afford any animal dying somewhere in these months. So what they do? Slaughterhouses in Europe are very, very busy during start of the September. When the autumn starts, the slaughterhouses get busy. How do they do? All the elder animals, all the animals that are fully grown, leaving those animals which will be useful after 6 months, leaving those animals and small animals, they slaughter all big animals during this September. That is autumn. So slaughterhouses get so busy in these times. So how will they ice and cold storage and all? Now only. Those days, how did they store those slaughtered meats? they had like we use in pickles. They used spices which has antibiotic and as antimicrobial, antifungal characters. They soak those meat into those spices, and they used as how we are using as using the pickle all through the year, like that they use the meat all through the year. For that purpose only, they wanted more and more spice. That spice supply was given by India. In 1453, Constantinople was captured. This is Constantinople. This is the meeting point of both the sea route and land route. When the Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turkish Empire in 1453, they blocked these trades. So what they had to do? They had to depend only on total of Europe. Only had to depend on this route only. Arabians, and here with that at that time 1453 the Venetians were powerful and controlling this sea. So these Venetians and Arabians, Arabians will procure the spices, give it to Venetians. Venetians will go to Europe and give it in auctions, not sale. So if for example if the pepper or any spice was sold for £1, during these times it went as high up to the price of the spice went as high up to £60. So 60 times rate got higher until 1498, until Portuguese found their sea route to India. You see, Portuguese is somewhere here. Everybody wanted to find a sea route to India. They could not use this way, so they started, see, if there is a way like this, there should be way around this continent. Until then, they know only Sahara. They did not know what is beyond Sahara. So they plainly said sub-Sahara. That's all. There was no authentic account of what is there beyond Sahara. They did not know how far the Sahara is and how wide the Sahara is. Nobody measured it because they were all ruled by kings and they were all having only monetary interest. So without monetary interest, who would just measure geography, right? Who will do a geographical work? So they blindly ignored this Sahara existence until this 1453. After that, each and every year, some expedition will start from, many expeditions will start from Portuguese, Spain, Italy, every place. They come like this and go back. No, we haven't found the tip. Go like this and go back. No, we haven't found the tip. Go like this, they will go back. No, we haven't found the tip of this continent. Where is the tip? We don't know. So like that, they kept coming. They kept coming for next 50 years. In 1498 only, actually 1492, they found this Cape of Good Hope. First, the Bartholomew Dias only came here. He said, okay, this is it. This is the tip of the continent. I have found the tip of the continent, he said to his king. And king named this Cape of Storm. He said that is a Cape of Storm. All our vessels are gone. It is very tough to cross this place because of the storms in this end. But his king named the Cape of Storm as Cape of Good Hope. Why? Why this is a good hope? This good hope is based on the desire to find India. So he said, okay, there is a good hope to find India's route now. So they named this Cape of Good Hope as in that name. So from there, they finally reached Calicut in 1498. So this is what happened in finding sea route to India. Then after they find, the Portuguese kept it as a secret for a long time because it's a hard earned money. They did not downsell what Venetians and Arabians were selling. and Portuguese also were selling for almost same price. Maybe for the auction it went up to 60 pounds means it went up to 40 pounds, very little less, but what was actually sold for 1 pound. Okay, so again they were also having huge profit. The king was only interested in profit. He was not interested to capture India and all. That man, whoever Samutripad was the king who welcomed the Portuguese, and they made treaties for the business. Okay. See, this is the sequence of establishment of European companies. 1498 Portuguese Company, 1600 English East India Company, 1602 Dutch East India Company, 1616 Danish East India Company, 1664 French East India Company. But after the rivalry started, that we will see later, this English and French lasted for a long time, because always British and French are rivals actually. In even taking European history into account, we can say English and French were always rivals. East India Company, it was started in 1600, December 31st, on the eve of New Year. You know who was who gave the permission? British Queen gave the permission to. Queen Elizabeth gave the permission to start this company. Who were the company's directors? You know, the royal family of British has a system of ranking. First rank will be the king or the queen or whoever comes to throne. Second rank, if something happens to the person, that person will be the second rank person. There is a movie of Johnny English in which one French hair of one French man who happened to be a 300 something hair of British royal family will capture all those 300 members and captivate, keep them in captivation. So like that, in the later rankings, actually yearly ranking royal family will get a good amount of monthly salary, whereas later ranking people won't get that much salary. So instead of giving them salary, Queen gave them the trading rights to India. Okay, mercantile is a business enterprises that makes profit primarily through trade, buying goods cheap and selling them at high prices. So this is what normally trading is done, right? Portuguese are already established their presence in western coast of India and had their base in Goa. In fact, 1515 and all, they captured Goa. Who had discovered this sea route in India 1498, the early 17th century. The Dutch too were exploring. As we said, we saw the numbers. The problem was all the companies were interested in buying the same thing. The fine qualities of cotton, silk produced in India, had a big market in Europe. Pepper, cloves, cardamom, cinnamon too were in great demand. Competitions so they were competing with each other. This is what given here. East India Company begins trade in Bengal. East India, first English factory was set up on the banks of River Hooghly in 1651. This was the base from which the company's traders, known at the time as factors, operated. So firman, what is a firman? Mughal emperor actually in 1686, after Mughal emperor Aurangzeb and British had a small war, small battle kind of thing, and Aurangzeb won. These British people gave a apology letter to Mughal emperor. As matter of goodwill, Mughal emperor extends some zamindari rights in 1691. A firman was issued. Firman is a royal edict. It's a royal order that says in 1691 Aurangzeb gave a firman to British to exempting their duty. Whatever duty, there are a lot of checkposts there. These people collect all goods from people by procuring them, purchasing them, take to the port of Calcutta. So 3 villages jamindar rights were given to British, and this duty exemption was given to them to carry goods. But what became the problem? What Aurangzeb firmans gave was companies' right to pay duty. Okay, but what they demanded, officials, they were carrying their private trade. Actually, on company was running on loss. But all this private trade, whenever the ship leaves to Britain, these company officials will send their own bulk orders, their own goods to sell in Britain. So when it is a company's item, it was exempted from the trade by paying duty. But those individual persons, officials of the company, also they wanted to make use of this exemption. But that was a problem for the local governor. Who was the local governor of Bengal that time? Murshid Quli Khan. Murshid Quli Khan protested. What is this? This is the important income for me. Aurangzeb gave exemption for the payment of duty only for the company, not for individual. But all white men are taking their goods on free of cost means how will I survive? So that was Murshid Quli Khan's problem. You see this picture given here. It's a beautiful picture of Chennai coast. On the backdrop you see Fort St. George. This is the place where currently Chennai port is there. 1881 only Chennai port was built. This was painting by William Simpson in 1867. So this has no port, but this is Masila. This is a boat called Masila. All those big ships, they need to stand in deeper area of the sea. From those ships, these Masila boats only will take all the goods and drop it here, pick up the goods and drop it back to the ship. This was a great helping boat. This has no motor on it. Till now it is like that only. You can see these boats in Marina. 8 to 12 people has to row this boat. And this boat played a crucial role in their trade until the port of Chennai was built in 1881. See Fort St. George here. Okay, so how the trade became battle. After the death of Aurangzeb, Bengal Nawabs asserted their power and autonomy as other regional powers were doing that time. Right? We said a lot of powers, they wanted autonomy. Murshid Quli Khan was followed by Alivardi Khan and Sirajud-Dowla as the Nawab of Bengal. Each one of them were strong ruler. They refused to grant the concessions. See, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb gave you the firman. Okay. But we will not give you any more firman. But in 1717, Farrukh Shiar, then Mughal ruler, he confirmed the firman of Aurangzeb that was given in 1691. But these people, they denied. No, that was the problem point for Murshid Quli Khan, and he said to Farrukh Shiar, no, you can give them the firman, but I will not permit, like that. So that's why he became autonomous. he became independent, Murshid Quli Khan. So after Murshid Quli Khan, Alivardi Khan, so actually Shuja-ud-Dawla was also a great ruler of Bengal. Then Alivardi Khan came, then Siraj-ud-Dawla came. They refused to grant the company's concessions. So because their revenue was lost. Okay, this conflict led to a battle. Okay, this is Robert Clive. We will see about him shortly. See, this is the Bengal. This, you see this India map. This part is Bengal, Nawab's area. This, you can add this area as well. But this area was prominently Bengal Nawab's area. These are the list of Nawabs. Murshid Quli Khan, as we saw. 1717 Farrukhsiyar, he argued with Farrukhsiyar. Shuja-ud-Dawla was a strong man, Alivardi Khan was a strong man, and Siraj-ud-Dawla is the man we are going to see right now. So as we said, ruler of Bengal, all rulers of Bengal and British East India Company, they had problems always. When Siraj-ud-Dawla came to power, when Siraj-ud-Dawla came to power, people around him said, no, see, these people are cheaters, they are doing like this, all this will not work. So Siraj-ud-Dawla orders them, okay, you will have to pay the duties so and so. Okay, so and so duties you will have to pay, there is no exemption for you. And you are fortifying yourself. No, you cannot fortify yourself, you cannot create your own autonomous area within your fort without my permission, because you are having weapons inside. Why British were having weapons inside? Just to save whatever the items they are procuring from the public. They had to save them from the robbers and other stuff. So, and they had many fights with even early as early as Jahangir's period. They had many fights with Portuguese and all. So they always had weapons. So you are having weapons and you are having your own area fort. I cannot leave you like that freely. So you are supposed to do all these things, and you are not supposed to have weapons and all. But this disturbed the British interest. They refused to no, we are having weapons for so and so. But because they are having they were always having problems, they indirectly intruded into this politics of Bengal. They wanted a king who can be a puppet at their hands. There will be always second man or third man to the Nawab, who is a weak fellow, who is greedy of power or greedy of money, who will always be looking forward to cause problems to the ruler, and so that he can become ruler. There will always a person like that. It's always thumb rule. It's always all the centuries, all the years, there will be someone like that. So these people were finding and colluding with those people and talking, okay, if you become the Nawab, all those talks. So Siraj-ud-Dawla got irritated. So you are engaging in all these unnecessary things, so you follow my rules. But the British refused. So Siraj-ud-Dawla sent small cavalry, and British were defeated very badly. And as they were defeated, they asked Siraj-ud-Dawla, what to do, sir? What to do, Nawab? Siraj-ud-Dawla said, okay, lock them in a room, we will see later. There was a warehouse with 14 into 18 feet room, 1 li. And prisoners were 146 prisoners. All these 146 prisoners were locked in this 14 into 18 feet room. You just have to, I request you to measure this place and imagine how much area is that, and how 146 persons can be locked inside. It was a single room, it was a one single room with one single window. Okay. So this happened in 20th of June. What was the worst thing? The worst factor of this black hole episode is the timing. You cannot forget this date. You cannot forget this date because there is a geographical importance to it. If this had happened in December, things would have been different. But it happened on 20th of June. Because it happened on 20th of June, 123 people died overnight. Tomorrow, but the next day morning they opened the door, only 23 survivors were there. All 123 people had died on that night itself because of the suffocation and the heat. What is the importance of this 20th June? It is summer solstice. Okay, this is summer solstice. The year is 1756. 5, 6, 7. We saw such number earlier. Where? Do you remember? 3, 4, 5. You see? So, this is summer solstice date. What happens on summer solstice? See, this is the black hole room. Black hole episode happened here. This became this 123 British people died in India. That created lots and lots of flame back there in Britain. So they wanted a revenge. You see what is there in summer solstice? Summer begins. This is actually every year, June 20 or 21st. This is for some year, but June 20 or 21st is the date where when this longest day happens. That is, sun stands exactly on Tropic of Cancer. You see where this Tropic of Cancer in India is running? You see, you have already studied in 6th standard which are the states Tropic of Cancer is crossing in India. You see, Bengal, Calcutta is exactly the same place on that Tropic of Cancer where the hottest sun possible was happening on that day. So 146 people on a small room. See, winter solstice, that is for us, it is winter. That is the longest night of the northern hemisphere. That falls in December 21-22. This falls on now June 20 and 21. Okay. So on that solstice day, this happened and they all died. You see. This is also another. I request you to have a look. Have it as a homework. See what is the solstice and equinox. Okay. So because of that, I said British wanted a revenge. What was the date this black hole episode happened? 20th June 1756. So back in Britain, a lot of problems, lot of anger, anguish. They wanted revenge, and it was conveyed to the Chennai chief Robert Clive. This is the Robert Clive's picture. They informed Robert Clive and another another warrior, Sir Eyrecourt. They took their Madras company people, soldiers, and they came to Kolkata. They wanted to have the victory on same day, that is 20th June 1756, but because of the transport and Robert Clive, actually Sir Eyrecourt was ready for a 1-to-1 battle. He wanted a heroic win, but Clive is a little crooked man. He had purchased one opponent, Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar was Siraj-ud-Dowlah's man. See, control overs there. So finally, company's army against Siraj-ud-Dowlah at Plassey. Plassey's name we got it from Palash tree. Beautiful red flowers that yield gulal. Powder used in the festival of Holi. That is a color festival. Red color gulal flowers powder only used in Holi. Plassey, this was the discussion held. What needs to be done to take the revenge for the Black Hole episode. Leaden Hall. This is Siraj Dowla's picture. Mir Jafar. So Clive was busy purchasing this fellow Mir Jafar. Most of the army of Siraj Dowla came to fight under Mir Jafar. But on the day of fight, that was on 23rd June of 1757, just 1 year after 1756 Black Hole episode. The date you should not forget. So 23 June 1757. You should not forget the date, not because you will be asked in exam. You will be asked in exam or not. That is not the important. The fun is connecting the date with something and keeping it in mind. That increases our self-confidence. So on 23rd of June 1757, they fought. That place was filled with Palashi tree. So that is called Plassey. Mir Jafar, Nawab's chief of army, colluded with Clive. That cannot be called as a battle. That was a small, trouble. That's all. Mir Jafar's men, they did not participate at all. Men who stood with Nawab, they were killed. British troops, they were headed by Robert Clive. This is the start of British power. And something else has also happened in Clive's life regarding this. After defeat of this Plassey, Siraj Dowla was killed. Mir Jafar was given the power. Mir Jafar promised them to pay so much pounds, so much of gold and pounds to British. But British became more and more greedy after Battle of Plassey. Actually, how the trade should happen? They should invest some money, purchase goods with their own money, and take the goods and sell for more money. Right? That's what mercantile. We saw the definition in previous page. Mercantile, right? Yes, mercantile. So this is mercantile. But what happened here after Battle of Plassey? They got money from here only. Whatever money they got from the Nawab, and their expense towards purchasing got very less. But they got more and more greedy. Mir Jafar could not supply their wishes. So he was dethroned, and Mir Qasim was placed in power. Then again Mir Qasim also complained, "What is this? You are just robbing us in daylight." But British said, "Okay, then you also get out. We ourselves will become Nawabs." But Mir Qasim fought a battle that is called Battle of Buxar in 1764, just 7 years after Battle of Plassey. That 7 years were robbery time for British people, British company. So he was replaced by Mir Qasim. He complained he was dethroned by Battle of Buxar. And 1765, Mughal Emperor, whoever the puppet Mughal Emperor was sitting there scared of British, they appointed East India Company itself as Diwan. When it became Diwan, company itself became Diwan, they did not bring any money from Britain thereafter. They took all money from India, they purchased everything by Indians' money, and they just sailed it overseas, and they sold it for 100% profit. So company company officials were so corrupt that company was still running in loss, and company officials were in good profit. So that is why, and everybody started to live like a king. Every company official started to live a life like a king. So that is why they were funnily called, they were mocked. Like, okay, are you a Nawab? Instead of they're Nabobs. British Nawab is called Nabob. Robert Clive went back to he himself had huge money. You see, he came penniless. He went back with this much money, and there was a company administration first held a inquiry on him, and he said, whatever I did only for company's interest. Then Parliament also held a inquiry on Robert Clive. Upon what one of the charges I want to tell you was forgery. One of the allies of Mir Jafar, Robert Clive promised something, some false thing, and Ayercourt was not there. He wanted Ayercourt's signature also, and unknowingly Robert Clive took that paper and put Ayercourt's signature himself. In India, this is a small offence, I know, according to the code, whatever the punishment prevailing right now. But in Britain, those days as well as these days, it is a offence of capital punishment. You know what is capital punishment? Death penalty. So that was an offence of capital punishment. So he said, I did it in my best interest. I did it in country's interest. If standing for country's interest, who founded this dialogue? I did it for my country. If it is wrong, I will do it again and again. Robert Clive only invented that dialogue. So he said so in Parliament. He said impressive speech. He gave an impressive speech, and whatever the voting had to be done to impeach him or to punish him, he won the voting. So he was not punished. But anyway, after some time, it says committed suicide in 1774. He did not commit suicide in guilt and all. He committed suicide on influence of opium. It's a drug. So it's an Anglicized version of Indian word Nawab is Nabob. So that's all for this session. We will see the rest of the session in detail next session. Yeah? Thank you.